I'm just going to sit here for a few minutes until maybe people start checking in. It's kind of last minute. I didn't advertise very well today. Hey, there you go, Lance. Maybe it'll just be you and me tonight. What's up? How's Mare's bike coming? Hey, Claw. Good to see you. Let's see. What's up? Yeah, that's pretty much it. Did a road trip down to Centerville today to transport a cute little Siberian Husky, little lady named Miss Greer. That was fun. There we go, Girls Who Ride. What's up? What's up? Hey, Marissa. Nice of you to join us this evening. How are y'all doing? Hey, Guy, what's up? I know that last week I said I was going to do sponsorships and resumes and stuff like that, but I didn't exactly get research done yet, and I wanted to talk to some people, and I wanted to line up one or two people to join in the conversation. So we're putting that on the back burner till maybe next week when I can get some research done. You know what, Lance? Why bother putting new plastics on that bike? That girl's just going to tear it up. I mean, just put the old ones on, put some new graphics on it, and let her run it that way. You know she's going to break those fenders. 2019, 150. Yeah, when she's done with it, it's going to look like a 2010, the way that girl rides. She hard on stuff. Anyway, so tonight's topics, as people sign in, they're zip tied to... Okay. If they're zip tied to duct tape, yeah, go ahead and get your new plastics. Oh, jeez. Woo! Oh, man. And some of those Pee-wee daddies thought it was hard keeping a 50 together. Yeah, you got your work cut out for you, Lance. Anyway, topic for tonight is going to be basically mental preparation, and then maybe talk a little bit about transitioning to a new class, because that's part of mental prep. So, it's 7:34. Wait another minute or two. Let some people figure out that I went live. Yeah, like I said, I didn't advertise too well today. Anyway, a lot of your racing has to do with mental prep and stuff like that. I mean, just look at Austin Fortner and also Ken Roxon and the mental prep that they've been doing, especially Fortner for being injured all last year and everything that he went through. So anyway, mental prep before a race is what we're going to talk about. And while we're waiting for some peeps to figure out that we went live, guys got any questions for me? Claw, you always have questions on the brain. So anything new popping up with you lately? And Lance, you have good questions too. So how about you, Marissa? Got any questions for me? So, Liana, you and I are going to have to talk about Girls Who Ride, what your sponsorships are and stuff, so I can promote that on Jackalope's page for you. Claw, I see you down there. Oh, there you are. No, is the site up and running? I will have to go check that out. Definitely. The Girls Who Ride got the website up and running. That's awesome. I'm excited. I'll check that out after live is done. Well, it's 7:36 and I finally figured out how to, under construction, but it's up, but I'm still going to go look, how to correctly save, and then I upload to my YouTube channel that way, because it still won't archive and save to saved to my archive or whatever. So I'm just going to quit fighting that. I'm just going to save the video and then put it up on YouTube so it's easier anyway. An adjustment along. Why are you playing with the power valve spring, Lance? That would be my question. Liana, switch to the girls who wrench. I don't know that I'd play with the power valve spring unless there was something wrong with it to begin with. But that's just me, you know. Gearing, yes, but I'd leave power valve alone unless there is a serious issue there. That's just my opinion. Gearing you can play with as far as obviously your sprockets and whatnot. So the other things that you can do, ooh, Elenator, what's up, Ellie? Hey, Lance, you might want to talk with the girls who ride. She's also a certified mechanic, and she knows her stuff big time. So you might want to chat with her when we're done and get some inside scoop on things, okay? Have you thought about a pipe and a silencer for that, Lance, as opposed to playing with the spring on the power valve? Something else you might want to consider is what's your oil to gas ratio? What are you running? 50 to 1? 40 to 1? And also, what spark plug are you running? That's another thing to consider before playing with the power valve. That's just my 2 cents. Liana, what do you think? Anyway, already done the pipe. Did you put the fatty on it? And what silencer is on it? That would be the next step. You can always go to an aftermarket silencer. Sometimes that helps a little bit too. But anyway, that's a conversation for another video. Let's talk about mental prep for a race and before a race, because it's 7:38. All right, so I'm going to tell you what my routine is and let you guys... I remember she crashed hard at Time to Ride, so we'll have to go back and talk about that, okay? 60 to 1? Oh, why are you running 60 to 1? Wait, what oil are you running, Lance? Because that's awfully thick. I mean, we usually run 48 to 1, 50 to 1, but you know, that's a conversation for another day. That's really rich right there, Lance. That's another issue. Anyway, yeah, if it's synthetic, possibly. But let me get back to... Gosh, Lance, you're sidetracking me here, bud. All right, mental prep before a race. So, to me, mental prep is part of routine. And... Okay, Liana can talk about that. All right, Lance, I'm gonna go back with this right here, because that's conversation all in and of itself. So and remember, just so you know, what the manual calls for, no matter what bike it is always extremely conservative and usually wrong. They just don't want you to blow the bike up by running it too lean. Just saying. Mental prep before a race. I'm going to be focused now. It's a routine for me, and it starts the week of the race Monday. Actually, it starts with the group text with the other 9 or 10 women that I've ridden with and or still race against, and we have a game where we play hole shot. And whoever claims hole shot in the text first is supposed to be allowed to have the hole shot. Of course, we don't go by that. But it's a fun thing to remember to call hole shot and stuff like that. It's just a joke that we all have. So that kind of begins race week for me. Race week, Monday, it's taking inventory of what do we have to get done by what time. Where is the race? What time are we probably going to leave on Friday? And then set the schedule accordingly. If I hadn't already done it from the week or two before, then Tuesday or Wednesday night, I need to make sure that I get all the training oil drained and the air filters pulled and washed. And this is part of race prep and the mental prep because it's part of the routine. And not being in the routine, for me, tends to be unsettling. Some people, they don't have a routine, they don't care. I will admit I am a tad bit superstitious. I do like to do things regularly. Hey, Lauren, the same way. So, figuring out what needs to be done bike prep wise, and then also making sure that maybe increase water intake. And I drink a lot of water anyway, but when it's warmer, as we all know, then I try to up the water intake on that Monday and try to have my body prepared by Saturday. From there, part of the routine is gear. It should all be cleaned because that usually gets washed the Monday after a race. And the gear bag gets packed. Usually that's Wednesday or Thursday. Making sure that gloves are clean, goggles are clean, that kind of thing. Then usually, let me see. Usually I plan on going to the grocery store on Thursday night or Thursday afternoon, Thursday night, and get that taken care of, and then preload the motorhome Thursday night. And this is all part of pre-race routine, the mental prep, because it's the mindset of we're going to race. I know that one of my videos, I don't know if it was a video post, even if it's raining on Monday or Tuesday, you need to go through the whole week with the mindset of, I'm going to race this weekend, so that you're in your routine and you're not scrambling to get everything done at the last minute and then find when you get to the track you've forgotten something because you didn't follow the routine. So that's the routine and prep. That's all part of the mental prep. Then obviously filters and oil. Well, I put the oil back in as soon as I drain it. Filters. We're running 2 filters now, each for both of us, where that way one gets pulled, the clean one gets put in, then we have time to wash the other one, and we don't have to wait for it to dry, which is kind of nice. So I definitely recommend run 2 filters. That way you've got one that's always clean, and you have time for it to dry. You don't have to wait for it to dry, all that kind of good stuff. So then we get the air filters back in the bike. And preload Thursday night is getting the fridge turned on in the motorhome and preloading all the non-fridge stuff. I give the fridge time to cool down, get cold before I put stuff in it. Friday morning, get up about 7 or 8, which is part of the routine. We'll leave it on Friday. Finish loading, doing any last minute things, making sure I've already gone to the bank, gotten money to get in the gate, buy entries, all of that kind of stuff. That's all part of the routine. But where does this fit into the mental aspect is all of that background stuff is taken care of so that when we leave on Friday for the race, focus for the race, mindset for the race. And so Friday night, this is going to sound funny. I try to get in bed by midnight, which sounds late to a lot of people, but for me, that's actually early. So try to get myself in bed by midnight, and I usually get up about 6:30 or 7 on Saturday morning. And a medication that I take requires me to wait 30 minutes before I can eat after I take it. So that's the first thing I do is I get up and take that, and then I can meditate, do my meditation. And by the time I'm done with meditation, it's time to eat. So I'll eat breakfast. And Joe has a tendency to get up and get dressed and get out on the track before I do, which is fine. I'm not a morning person. It takes me a while. So while I'm meditating, I'll drink my Spark, my Advocare Spark, which is my teeny amount of caffeine with everything else. It's for mental focus, but it also is my coffee in the morning. And I let Joe get out and he gets dressed and everything first. Then I will go out and around 9 o'clock, usually, I get dressed to run practice. Practice runs until 1 o'clock. I usually run 2 laps of practice, and it's very much a routine. I do pretty much the same thing every time, as far as about the same time every day on Saturday and the same time on Sunday, because I race both days. And the routine, I think the routine helps to keep me calm and centered, I guess. So routine for me is good. And besides the fact, being ADHD like I am, if I stay in the routine, I don't forget things. If I get out of the routine, I might forget something. So I get dressed and grab a lap of practice. And most of the time, I will take a lap of practice, come back, sit down, take a quick break, grab water, and if we need to, make adjustments on the suspension, and then go back and grab another lap of practice. I usually only do 2 laps of practice because I race Saturday afternoon, and that's 4 or 5 laps, and then I race on Sunday, that's another 4 or 5 laps. So 2 laps of practice is pretty much all I need. I could do more, but I'm getting old. I don't want to wear myself out too much. So mental prep, routine, really is the big thing for me. What I might change as far as routine is which gear do I feel like wearing that day, to be honest. I have cold weather gear, and I have vented gear for the heat and all that, and then I have in-between gear. So it's not necessarily designated for a specific temperature. Sometimes it's comfort. Just depends on what I feel like at the time. But along with that mental prep, the mindset is very, very important to... I don't like people telling me about the track, because people have a tendency to add their opinion in on the track. So I don't like people coming up to me and going, "Oh, LJ, you're going to hate this track." I don't want that. I don't want any preconceived notions. So I tend to cut people off, and it might come across as rude, but I'm like, hey, no, I'm good. The only thing I need to know about is there a section, a danger that has a danger marking that could hurt me? Is it a really steep downhill that comes up on you, or, something like that? That I want to know about. Otherwise, don't tell me anything else about the track. Let me go out and ride it and make my own decision about whether I like the track or hate the track. So that's something that I learned a long time ago, is I quit listening to people about what they thought about the track, because we all like different tracks for different reasons. We all dislike different tracks for different reasons. So that's part of my mindset and my prep. Exactly, Lauren. Judge it for yourself. Yes, you are correct. What's another man's castle might be another man's dump. You never know. So that's part of it, the mental prep. I try to keep negative opinions away from me, because I don't want that seeping into my mindset. I don't want somebody's fear or dislike of an obstacle to kind of transfer to me. I want to be able to approach that obstacle and overcome it myself without having preconceived fear and notions about it. So that's just something I do. The other thing, as far as the mental prep, is while I'm running practice, a lot of times we don't always have mile markers, so I try to make mental notes of parts of the track that scared me or really caught me off guard. And it'll just be right after the big ugly bush, or there was a rocky section. I'll just pick a part of the terrain that I'd just gone through and make a mental note of that to try to remember it for next time. I don't memorize tracks. Back in the day, some of our tracks were 13 miles long, and you just couldn't memorize. So I memorized the oh crap moments, the moments in the track that scared me and made me pucker. That's what I would do. And so a lot of your mental prep also is, attitude, frame of mind, Do you want to race? Do you want to have fun? And I will admit, the mud races anymore, I don't always have the happiest attitude. So I kind of have to turn myself around on that. But anyway, mental prep, a lot of it is routine and mindset. Saturday's routine is after practice. I will come back, and usually about noon or 12:30, I'll grab some kind of a sandwich or lunch type thing that will take the hunger edge off, because I can't overeat. I can't eat a lot. And then I'll grab a snack about 2 o'clock when I come back. Joe will be racing. He races 1:30 to 2:30. I usually come back about 2 because I race at 3. And grab a snack, take the hunger edge off again, do my Advocare, the stuff that I use for racing. And then I get dressed. And I usually am listening to music, because it just helps keep my pinball brain from going crazy. It helps me settle down. So I focus on the lyrics. I focus on the beat and the sound, and I put my earbuds in. And it kind of, sort of lifts my spirits and gets me in a happier mood or whatever. But that's part of my routine. Somebody also asked about, are there routines that people use to relax and focus? I am pretty talkative all morning long until I gear up for the race. Gearing up for practice is no big deal. I always change out of my gear after practice, because I get done with practice at 11 or 12, and I don't race again until 3. So I take my gear off. But when I gear up for a race, that's when I get quiet. The earbuds are in, and I'm not really very talkative. I don't want to talk a lot. That's my focus. If I want to talk, I'll initiate the conversation. And it'll usually be, okay, how much did the track change? There was this one section that was giving me trouble. What's it like now? And I'll get, a recon from Joe and some of the other riders who've just gotten off the track. But that's part of my focus, is I don't really talk a lot right at that point. Most of my answers tend to be 1 or 2 words if you're asking me questions. And I really kind of withdraw into the music just for a little bit, just so that the nerves don't get a hold of me, and so that I can stay focused, and so that my thoughts don't run rampant. There have been times that I've actually taken a nap after practice. If I got finished with practice early, I'll lay down from 11 to 1 and grab a nap, because I'm hypothyroid, which means I have a slow thyroid, and there are times where my body just doesn't have any energy. And so I'll have to go lay down and take a nap. And that isn't after every practice, but it doesn't surprise me if it happens now. I just go lay down, take a nap, set the alarm on the phone, get up at 1 and go watch Joe race at 1:30. So, but I also, one thing I have noticed when I was thinking about this, I like to get geared up in the trailer by myself for the race. I don't want anybody in there talking to me, chit-chatting. I just want to be in my own little world for a little while, and just a little bit of peace and quiet, because, I just don't want that extra noise, if that makes sense. So, but I do want to point out, everybody's prep for a race is different. I really believe the whole week-long mentality, thought process, mindset is very important to get you where you need, to get you ready to race. Just try to make sure that I get enough sleep, if I can, the week of a race. And, obviously hydrate, that kind of thing. As far as diet and stuff, I'm not the dietitian. So that's a whole different ball game right there. So there's so many different theories right now about what you should eat a week before you compete in an endurance competition and things like that. So I'm going to leave that to experts for right now. But everybody does things differently to relax. Some people like to dance before they race. It's whatever. It's what works best for you. But I think the most important thing, the one thing that I've said repeatedly, is routine. I think a routine is important, but you have to have some flexibility. Occasionally, your routine gets turned all upside down. We had a race last year at Stephenville where it rained, and all of our races on Saturday got moved to Sunday. So we raced 2 races on Sunday. And where that messed me up is my eating to be able to race. So I was a little rattled by that. But with your routine, it's got to be flexible. You have to allow it to have a little flexibility for such a possible, event. And what routines do you guys have? Because nobody has said anything for a while. So, are you guys still here? Whoa, go down. There we go. Hello? Anybody there? Yes, no? Anybody? Wow, crickets! Hello, people. There we go. Not that quiet, Lance. God, I thought everybody had hung up on me and left for the night. If you guys, my routine is to listen to music. Yeah. There's just something about music, and there's also something about having the earbuds in, and it puts you in your own little world for a while. That's okay. I got lonely. But the other thing you might want to do is Pedialyte. Yeah, the famous Pedialyte. You might want to actually pay attention to what your routine really is. Yeah, Claw, you will get back into the swing of things. You will find a routine. The most important thing right now is just get into riding on a regular basis, Yeah, Mary does have that ability to zone out. Passing out when I'm anxious, so definitely try to get in a calm. Liana, have you tried doing some meditation? I'm on a meditation kick right now, y'all, because I do not wish to take medication to calm my temper down. And so I am meditating, and I'm relying on the breathing techniques, and they help because last year, right on the start of a race on Sunday with the over 52 amateurs with the guys, I got hit with an anxiety attack as soon as we left the line. And that was jacked up, y'all. That messed me up because I feel it in my chest, and it's like a panic and a warm, burning, tingling sensation, and then my brain goes into overdrive. That was scary. So breathing helped calm me down with that. Lauren, I'm sure you are still working on getting a routine in place. It depends on where you're riding. Yep. I'm always running around working in between riding. Yeah, it's hard to work and ride seriously. I figured that out when I was being a photographer at the races and racing at the same time. Lauren, let's message about the anxiety and the meditating, okay? If you haven't looked at your routine, if you haven't really paid attention, sit down and actually focus on it the next time you have a race. When does your race mindset kick in? Is it the Monday before a race? Is it Thursday? And be really cognizant of it. Notice it. Do you have a lot of steps? Do you just have a few? What are your nitpicky things? My nitpicky things are don't move my stuff. Once I put it down, don't move it because I know where it is. If you move it, that messes me up. That's one of my nitpicky things. So, but like I said, I think routine is very important to mental prep. And mental prep a lot of it is making sure things are done ahead of time. And And then also settling into the groove once you get to the track. Everybody's at different places in your race experience and riding experience. I've had, I can't even count how many now. There are times where, man, you are at one with your bike, the moto gods are smiling on you, and nothing goes wrong. And then there are those weekends where you trip and fall getting out of the trailer, and that has set the tone for the whole freaking weekend. So, and it happens, and you have to adapt to it and adjust and just try to get through it best you can. Yes, don't touch the stuff, right? You always, yeah, wait a minute. You or your nephew, somebody lost gloves, or no, it was Megan. Somebody ended up with somebody else's gloves at the bottom of their gear bag at Make Up to Mud Camp. That was so funny, trying to figure that out. Anyway, so routine and things like that. We are all that way. And we all have our set patterns and routines that we rely on. The other thing I want to talk about real quick, because it's already 8 o'clock, is transitioning to a new class. Guys, pretty much everything about racing is mindset. Definitely mindset. Usually transitioning to a new class means you've moved into a faster class. That's usually what that means. What's really important is how you treat yourself, and that you recognize that you have to allow for a learning curve. Anytime you move up to a faster class, there's a learning curve involved, because the racing is at a much faster pace, literally, and also intellectually. Yeah, John's jersey. That's funny. But you have to give yourself the learning curve to allow time to adjust. And that's with any part of riding and racing. And, when you switch to a different bike, even if it's the same size motor, if you've switched to a different brand, you got to give yourself time to learn and adjust to that new bike and the ergos on it, the way the motor responds, handling, whatever it is. You have to treat yourself with kindness and compassion, just like you would anybody else, because we are our own worst enemy or our own best cheerleader. So allow yourself learning curve, time to adapt and adjust to the new class. Also, expectations. If you walk in thinking, I'm going to get the crap kicked out of me, you probably will. If you walk in thinking, I'm going to kick everybody's butt, you probably won't. So set your expectations realistically for that new class. And try to run practice with some of those people in that new class so you can get an idea what the pace is and what it's going to feel like to go that pace. So that's one thing. Also, don't overthink it. Everybody's going to ride. Everybody's going to be faster. But everybody also makes mistakes. The terrain treats everybody the same. It's how we adapt and adjust to the terrain. I always say that about mud and sand. It treats everybody the same. So also respect the speed, because you're in a faster class. And if you don't respect the speed, you will get hurt. So you got to respect the speed and be mindful of how fast you're going, and if you're riding within your abilities or if you have gone past the edge. Because once you hang it out past the edge, Claw, why does that not surprise me? You're an engineer. Once you hang it out past the edge, something bad's going to happen. It's going to be expensive, either with your body and or your bike. So respect the speed, and set reasonable goals for your first few races. Look at lap times. Try to compare your lap times to the other people in your class, especially from the season before, and see if you can kind of predict how you will do, and set your expectations that way. When I was a track coach, I worked with my runners a lot on setting their own expectations for personal goals and how we would go about doing that, especially if they were running the 400 or the 800, and how quickly they needed to run each lap, that kind of thing. And so that's something you need to do as well. Set some realistic goals. Y'all, some of my goals have been, let's just get through this lap without falling. Or let's get through this lap cleanly. No mental errors. Or let's not stall this lap, or there would be one obstacle that just would struggle with every single lap. So each time I'd approach that obstacle, it was, you can even hear me say it on my videos on occasion. Okay, LJ, let's do this one cleanly. So set tiny goals and overall big goals. Tiny, big. But also set a seasonal goal. When I race with the over 52 amateurs, I'm the only woman in the class. But all of us are over 52. So our mindsets are, we just want to get out of bed on Monday. And so it's not as cutthroat as when I raced with younger age classes, which is nice. But my goal is to finish top 5 overall at the end of the season. That's a good realistic goal because I'm a consistent rider. I usually finish every race. My biggest struggles are always the really hot, dusty races, and that's because of my asthma. So sometimes those are my throwaway races. They're not the pretty races, and I don't do well with them. But those are my realistic goals, finish in the top 5. I always leave the line with the mindset of, don't be last. I don't want to be last. I would love to trophy. In Torn, we trophy 3. 3. I would love to trophy. Haven't yet, but I have finished in the top 5 overall for a season. Now, a hopeful goal is that I finish top 3 overall for the season. Another hopeful goal is win a trophy once, just to do it, finish 3rd. That would be fun for me. I would enjoy it. But I also want to emphasize for me now at this point in my career, which this is my 38th year, it's not necessarily about the trophy. For me, it's how well did I ride. And I would like to trophy with the guys once. That'd be cool. So anyway, setting those realistic goals and learning and riding with people that are faster than you. That's one of the only ways you're going to get faster is by riding with faster riders, but who are smart. Don't ride with the crazy riders that'll scare you. Lance, I hope that bringing the ladies' classes back will bring several new racers. But I do want you to know, Lance, that I was looking at TCCRA's ladies and women's classes. They've got about the same number as we do in Torn. Hey, Hurricane, what's up? So it's just they have a lot of the older women that are racing. So I think that's the other problem right now is the majority of our women racers are the older racers. So we need to get the younger ones back out again and get them riding. But the big thing is that when you get moved to a new class, just to reiterate, set realistic goals, be respectful and mindful of the speed, and give yourself a learning curve. So that's what I got for tonight. I can tell you one funny story. Y'all want a funny story? You want story time? Somebody say yes. Anybody want story time? Lance, do you want story time? Or no? Okay. So when I first started racing cross-country off-road, I was riding with the women, and we had one class. It was the Ladies Open, and there were about 20 of us or so every race. And I was actually racing my mother. Then we finally got split into the Ladies Expert, Ladies Amateur. And I moved into the 125 Amateurs. I don't know, 5 years? I can't remember when I did it. Anyway, and the 125 amateur class, and at that point everybody was on 125s. We weren't racing 4-strokes or anything like that. And so actually all the 4-strokes were XRs. They were really heavy and really slow. So anyway, so I moved into the 125 amateur class after I won the ladies class. And it was interesting because I was, I don't know, 20, 28, 30 maybe. And they were all 16. And at this point, we call the 125s the Screaming Mimis, the Killer Bees, the Bumblebees, because that's what it sounded like when they took off from the line. That kind of like, ee! And it was crazy. But I stayed in that class for a while, and it grew so much that at that point we only had the 125 amateur and the 125 expert class. Well, it grew so much that they needed to create a 125 intermediate class. And again, this was a situation where I was the only girl riding with all these crazy teenage boys. And I never trophied at an individual race, but I trophied year-end. TCCRA trophied top 6. And I trophied a couple of times year-end. And then the club decided to create the 125 intermediate class. So they just automatically took the top 5 of us, top 6, I think it was, that finished and bumped us all to intermediate. Y'all should have seen my mama. Ooh, she was mad. She was madder than a wet hen, making me be a 125 intermediate. It was funny. I thought she was going to attack somebody. And my mother's a pacifist. She didn't believe in violence, but she was mad. Actually, I took it as a compliment. I was like, dude, I'm a 125 intermediate. You know. So, anyway, yeah, that's my story about getting bumped. And to be honest, I knew that I couldn't run with those guys because, number one, they all started racing when they were like 8. I didn't start racing until I was 17. They were all still in high school, and I had a full-time job as a teacher and a coach. So, yeah, it was cool. It was a compliment. That's the other thing. When you get promoted to a higher, faster class, it's a compliment. People get mad, but it's a compliment. It means you're really riding well. And that's the other thing you need to keep in mind if and when you do get bumped. But that's all I've got for tonight as far as mental prep. And what I'd really like from you guys is send me a list of your mental prep. I might just throw that request out there and put together a list of what people like to do for mental prep. You know, even if it's just race day, you don't have to do the whole week. For me, just the whole week gets me into the mindset and keeps me there and keeps, has me prepared by Friday and Saturday race weekend. So anyway, if you feel like it, DM me, send me your race day prep and routine, race day routine. Okay, that's your homework, race day routine. You're going to try and find a class to race on Sunday? Yeah, I would. Hey, Maddie. You know what, Lance? Racing 2 days has really made the difference for me. Because practice is fun, but let's face it, we all don't practice as fast as we race. And I have a whole lot more fun racing, to be honest. It's pretty cool. So I've really enjoyed double classing and being able to ride Saturday and Sunday. And hopefully my body's going to let me continue to do that for at least 5 more years. So anyway, if Maddie, I know you just joined in. I don't know if you've noticed, but my last Instagram Live, I was able to save and I uploaded on YouTube. That's also for you, Lance. So if you ever miss, don't worry if it disappears off the, storyline thing. It will be on YouTube for you. And the link to my YouTube channel is in my bio. Still working on getting all of the rest of last year's race videos up. And I still need to post Joe's Gutbuster footage. I hadn't done that yet. So with that, that's all I got for tonight. Thank you for joining in. And I will be better about advertising sooner and letting you guys know. Hey, Cheryl Lambert, letting you guys know that that I'm going to be doing a live. Yeah, Lance, what'd you think about my bike being totally stuck in the way? Man, y'all got to go watch the Riverfront Grand Prix videos. and Lance just picking my bike up out the mud and getting me out of the sink muck because it was totally gnar. Anyway, so that's all I got for tonight. Cheryl, I'm sorry, I'm fixing to check out right now, but it'll be live, it'll be saved for you. And anytime you guys have questions or comments, please feel free to DM me. I want to hear about your racing experiences. Also, if you'll tag me in your racing posts like you tag the Girls Who Ride, I would love it. And, I don't always see everybody's posts to be able to get to like them and comment and stuff. So tag me so I can, creeper stalk you and see how you're doing. But please feel free to DM me if you got questions, comments, stories, suggestions, any of the above. I'm open to it all. So our first race is Leap Year Weekend, the last weekend of February. And we'll go from there. That's all I've got for now. Remember, any day we get to ride is a good day, because we want to live to ride another day, y'all. All right, so I'll catch you later. Let me know if you're going riding this weekend, okay? Bye, guys. And